Okay, I've got to find out more about that. Okay, I hadn't thought about ESL. Makes sense. Because we're going to have some ideas. People need to know how to do this. They're not going to figure it out necessarily, especially if they're left-brained like me, you know. Now this is another one which is cute. Notice it's above the door, way out of eye vision. But never mind, it was a good idea. So they're trying, but it's on the wall. I went and I sat in those rooms for a day and I hardly heard anyone say anything than, put your pen down. I said, put your pen down. Thank you. Be quiet, please. I didn't hear anyone mention rights, impact on others. Some people said, look, do me a favour and put your pen down. They either use legitimate power or they use their relationship power, but they didn't make any reference to the thing on the wall. And that's a problem, in my opinion, because that's your power base, not your relationship, and not the fact that you're a teacher, but because that's true. You know, everyone affects everybody else, and we do have the right to learn, and we do have the right to be safe. It is Australia. It doesn't matter who you are. You have those rights. So they had this sort of stuff up. I just photographed this. I went around because I've got much more interesting ones in primary. I'll show you. Oh, that's a standard secondary one. Very thorough. Can you imagine what that does to a C and a D? Straight over the head, literally. I mean, they wouldn't even see it. Now, how would you get that into a visual form? But that's the challenge, I think, which I don't know what to do about, but it is a challenge we're going to have to rise to at some point. And I'm hoping over 4 years we'll get there, yeah. Yep.
We use that in our school, but we do actually like a startup program at school that talks about all those things, and you get the kids to draw. All that sort of stuff, and lots of visuals, and there's heaps of posters on that in their head and all that type of stuff.
Okay, that'd be interesting. I'd like to see some of this stuff. I need to show it to people like you. I need to see things and present it, because I don't have any. So if you do anything, I mean, in a way, you'd almost feel like saying to the D kids, you are suspended so that you can draw these diagrams and we'll pay you for them. Because that would attend to all their needs in one hit, and yours. They would be useful, belonging and competent, all in one hit. And while they're being punished, of course. Okay, so in primaries is much more interesting. Some people have this sort of stuff. Still words in that case. This was after extensive discussion, of course. That was the other one. I like that. I'll be focused while we're on the floor. This will not go down well in secondary. Some people got to the visuals. I thought that was clever. Now, the idea of pictures of kids is good because they recognise themselves, obviously. It's useful. I couldn't find the one to be safe. I don't know what that would look like. That would be interesting. Maybe you have the same picture of them in manacles or something. I don't know. But, they're not allowed to touch each other. I don't know how you do that safe one, but that would be an interesting one to design even. This is one that picked up the values that people were talking about and didn't let go of them. So some schools I'd been in had been in you can do it, habits of mind, values, positions and so on. And so, but they still moved across and tried to integrate them. That's what I was asking before. Why should you be cooperative? I guess because it helps there for a start. And respect helps there. And resilience helps there. And confidence helps there. Primarily, I suppose. I don't know. But you can probably link them up. They didn't come out of nowhere. And they're relevant. If they're relevant to schools, they're going to be relevant to those too, and maybe something else. The only things I can't deal with are things like, why people should be in uniform. Now, you could say that one for uniform, because kids out of uniform, you get comparisons by dress code and how much things cost, and And so, it might be damaging. And it gives a sense of belonging to a group. And it's safety. Actually, it's safety because you know who the insiders and the outsiders are. So maybe uniform you could do. Not long hair or short hair. You couldn't do that. Or, why can't I have long hair as a boy? Why can't I have hair down to my waist? And the answer might be it's bad for marketing, but that doesn't sort of fit. I don't know what you do with that one. Okay, there's another one. There's another one. Oh, this one is cute. Watch this. This was the most successful one. This is a classroom where it actually did work well. Everything worked well. They spent a long time practicing before they implemented. It went from there to there. To there. And it was a whole program called Community Kids, the idea of community. And I'd say that theoretically should go from the community of the classroom to service learning, which means you go out and you work in the community. And by year 11, you're looking at international rights and so on and so forth. There should be, in my opinion, a developmental curriculum in rights and responsibilities because it's actually a legitimate area of curriculum content. It's not an adjunct, it's not just management, it's clearly a thing of its own. And you'll see other things there, you'll see later, we'll come back to those. They are pictures of 3 kids, 1 per week, and people stick yellow notes around them saying what responsible behaviour they've engaged in. So it alerts everyone to be communally responsible and it makes those kids feel good and so on and so forth. I'll come back to a lot of that stuff. There's another one, and this one had pictures of kids. Now I don't know how they decided on what pictures, but obviously hands up is hands up. Because the kids you most want to influence and instruct are visual. And so you actually educate them what they're expected to do and why, but it's a visual way of doing it as well as a linguistic. And I think I told you the story in prep. I went to a prep that had something like, where was it? That on the board, right? And so this was 1 and this was 2. And so this preppy, I think I said to you, the preppy was there and I was looking at this and thinking, how are they dealing with this? They've taken it literally and they've put it all up in words. And this preppy said, Miss, he's not doing the sign. And he knew, to him it was a visual, it wasn't words at all. He knew this sign had to do with learning and this one had to do with being safe. And so when you interviewed them, I said, you're allowed to do anything you like? And they said no. And I said, why not? You've got to be safe. I'd say, be safe. They had this little thing. And then and one kid said, be safe. And I said, is there anything else? He said, no. He had never heard of learn. So that, I said learn. He said, no. He obviously wasn't with it that day. So that could be a visual, but it may not be. Okay, so as I said, that's that one. And some people do it that way or that way. But however you do it, it's not rules. It's not rules. And there's no room for rules. Now, what some people did was much cleverer than all this, and I'll show you after the break. We'll stop now for half an hour, but some of them even had kids self-regulating and self-monitoring against these, and I'll show you what they've done. Teachers are clever.